It is the summer of 2000 on a really hot July morning, 10 a.m., already 92 degrees. And I am standing at the Bridgeport, Connecticut Transportation Center, where there are buses, trains, and cars. I am waiting there to meet a Greyhound bus, and I think my ex-husband Keith is going to be on it, a man I have not seen for 12 years, and neither have our children. It is very humid. I am sweating. I can smell the gasoline of every bus that comes and goes. I can smell the garbage on the streets of Bridgeport. I can hear Metro North rumbling by above me, lots of car horns, and I feel the sweat, and I know it's not just the heat. I do not know if this man is going to get off the bus. He has been known to lie in the past. Will I even recognize him? And how did we get here? I think back to the year I met him, 1981. We met in LA. We had aspiring actors here. I had spent 4 years there, putting my personal life on a shelf, thinking I will meet Mr. Right when I'm a star. I had spent 4 years in LA, going from casting office to casting office, and I made it all the way to being the lead chick singer in a band at the Hungry Tiger in Woodland Hills in the Valley. It's a job, and it's 5 nights a week, and I get paid to sing and maybe get discovered. So I'm working, and I think it's time, and I go into this phase of serial experiential dating. I decide that my life is ready. I said, okay, you know what? I have a job. I'm working in show business. I'm gonna date. So I say yes to guys. I say yes to the radio disc jockey, who turns out to be married. I say yes to my music professor at college, who takes me to McDonald's for lunch. I say yes to the lawyer. I'm trying to date boring people, and I was right. And I say yes to Dale, the surfer, who comes to the Hungry Tiger every night to hear me sing, and I felt like, sure, let's go on a date, why not? So the date turns out to be at his condo. He has a roommate, because all 35-year-old men have roommates, and his roommate has a 3-year-old son who spends weekends there. So we go to this party, and the 3-year-old son is on the floor, and on the floor, playing with this child, is a really cute guy. And I mean really playing with this kid, not just watching him play. They got the Matchbox cars, and they've got the napkins, they created roads, and they're going up, and I am 29 years old. And my biological clock is now going tick, 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 tick. I want marriage and kids as well as stardom. Hence the serial experiential dating. So I kind of mosey over. Dale is somewhere talking to somebody else, and I'm just, oh, that's so cute. So this guy stands up. He's taller than me, which is good, another plus. And he says, oh, hello, love, I'm Keith. He's British. He has this British accent. It's the Beatles effect. I grew up with the Beatles. He sounds just like George. Well, trouble is, he's there with a girl. I'm there with Dale, and so when I go home, I say to my roommates, because I have roommates too, but I'm an actor, it's okay. I say to my roommates, you know, yeah, Dale was fine, but there was this guy who was so cute, but he was dating someone else. Well, 2 nights later, Keith shows up at the club, and he says, oh, I've dumped Brenda. I think I'm in love with you, and I want to date you. And I'm like, oh. This is Los Angeles. Men don't say things like that. So he did dump Brenda. He was in love with me. This is just like a scene in the movies. I have met my soulmate. Well, we proceed to date. And this man is a surprise. He calls when he says he will. Remember, we're in LA. We're They go, my people will call your people, and maybe we'll meet for lunch and we'll split the bill. But he takes me out, he pays, introduces me to people as his girlfriend, actually uses the G word, and then on date number 3, he says, you know, I really want to give you babies. Biological clock alarm goes off, not just dinner, but actual babies might be in my future. This is what I've been waiting for. And then he says, you're the only sensible girl I've met in Los Angeles. I just know you can make my life better. I know that my problems will go away because I'm with you, and I love you so much. I'm like, oh, he needs me. And this is even better because I can fix him. This is something I love to do. This is the kiss of life. So he comes to the Hungry Tiger every night with this British accent. We are now officially dating, and everyone loves us. We are the golden couple of the Hungry Tiger. He buys drinks for the crowd, proposes to me after a month of dating. I said no, but he said, well, I'll just keep asking till you say yes. How can you resist? He said I was the one he'd always been looking for. I was the one. We met in February. 6 months later in August, we had gotten engaged, moved across the country with a 4x6 U-Haul towed by my Datsun B210 hatchback. We made it over the Rockies, and we made plans to get married at the Holiday Inn in Darien, Connecticut. Now, there were a few cracks in the picture. We were living with my parents to save money. We found out that this British guy had no green card. He was too scared to contact his kids back in the UK and his ex-wife. And he drinks a little. Well, a lot more than I'd noticed working in the bar. But, you know, I'll fix all that. I'm the fixer. I can fix it. And besides, I'm going to be a bride. I've got the dress, and I've got the veil. Sadie, Sadie, married lady. I'm going to do it. So the night before the wedding, my father pulls me aside. And my father, Irving K., not known to be the most tactful man in the world, sits me down and very calmly says, you know, honey, he never calls me honey, we just want you to know that if you choose not to marry this guy, no one's going to think less of you if you cancel the wedding. I'm like, no, I got this. I know it's not perfect, but no, thank you. That I really appreciate that. No, it's fine. We're going to get married. So I go down the aisle in my nice dress. We have the wedding. All my gay, almost ex-boyfriends were there from when I did theater for all those years in New York. And I walk down the aisle thinking, well, you know what? There's no fairy tale. Love songs, they don't know what they're talking about. I'll just give this a try. If it doesn't work out, we can always get divorced, and then I will have been married, which is better than never having been married. A week after the wedding, I find out I'm pregnant. So now this trial is going to have to stick a little longer than a few weeks. So we have a son, my son Dan. And for 7 years, we stick to it. I get to do some other British things, by the way. Did you know you have to vacuum every day in different directions, just like the lawn? My answer to that, of course, was, here's the vacuum. But that's what they do. Also, it's a torch, not a flashlight. Things don't go somewhere, they live somewhere. Where do the cups live? It's very cute, I still say that. It's a pushchair, not a shoulder, and this man irons his underwear. That's how fastidious he is. British is not so cute. All right, so I make him contact his other kids. He visits them. They visit us. It seems like I fixed him. He says he's happy. We have some sober years. We have a planned second child, my daughter Allie. But then one crack becomes a huge, huge fissure. He doesn't just drink a little, he is an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. And when he's not sober, he's really not sober. And I don't get this at all. I did not grow up with alcohol. There was a big bottle of scotch at my big brother's bar mitzvah, and it is still in my parents' basement at this point, like unopened. My parents maybe had a whiskey sour on New Year's Eve and didn't finish it. I did not know from alcoholics. So we start to have problems. We try things. We try therapy. He leaves after one session, says, well, clearly Randye's the problem. Mm-hmm. So we try separating. He goes to LA with some cash. I get the kids, I get the house, I get the bills. He agrees to child support at a ridiculously low amount. What was I thinking? But the money's gone in 3 months anyway, and he can't pay it anyhow. He begs to come back to Connecticut. The kids are all excited. Daddy's coming home, Daddy's coming home. And we plan for a nice, friendly divorce. And he tries for a couple of months. He tries to get sober. This lasts a few weeks until he's kicked out of his job, kicked out of his home, and living in his car, a brand new Mustang he had bought for no money down because we as a married couple had great credit. A few months later, a phone message on the answering machine. Austin, I'll tell you what that is later. You're probably It's a thing where people used to call. It's like voicemail on your smartphone, but it actually, anyway, I'll explain it. So there's a voice message when we come home, and it's like, "Hello, loves. It's Daddy. I just want you to know how very much I love you." And I'm like, "Oh, that's nice." That would be the last time we would hear his voice for years. We never heard from him again. We went through his date book. My son, 6 years old at the time, played that phone message over and over and over again, hugging that date book and rocking back and forth, just wanting to hear his father's voice. My daughter is 3, doesn't understand, very good-natured kid, but if I had the wrong animal crackers, she would get hysterical. But you know what, we get through it. We barrel through. I decide I'm not going to be bitter. I give all my husband's clothes to Goodwill. I sell his carpet installation van. I sell the waterbed. Yay! I can finally get rid of that waterbed. That is really, and finally I sell our little starter house and get one in the suburbs in Basicville, Connecticut. And I do it. I find work, at least related to acting. I find work on the radio. I find work as a voiceover talent. I find work as a drama teacher. I find work as a Weight Watchers leader. It's related, trust me. And I raise my kids. We're the 3 musketeers. And the years go by and we get whatever therapy we need. And now the clock is ticking. And I know that if he is gone 7 years, I can have him declared legally dead. Now we're going to have some closure because I don't think we can have a funeral, though I would like to. So I wait, it's 7 years, and if he's legally dead, my kids will get survivor's benefits from Social Security. This is a good plan. So I go, I wait, I confirm with a lawyer that this is good, and I'm waiting on line of Social Security. I'm like, okay, just gonna put a lid on everything. And I get to the front, and I say to my husband, she says, yeah, what's his number? I give her his Social Security number, and she goes, oh. Wish you'd come in a month ago. There was just been some activity on this number. Yeah, ooh, exactly. And I'm like, what? She said, I can't tell you what it was. Maybe he applied for a loan. I don't know, but he's not dead. I'm like, shit, he can't even be dead. What's wrong with this man? Can't do anything right. And I walk out of there thinking, this is like some old movie where you think your husband died in a shipwreck, but they find him on a deserted island, and now you have to get him back into your life. All right, well, there's a new thing out called the internet. Turns out for about $150, I can track them down. And I do. One night when my kids are asleep, I pick up the phone. My heart is racing. I dial the number, push the buttons, and him. Oh my God, it's him. He actually answered the phone. And I'm like, hi, Keith, it's Randye, your ex-wife. How did you get this number? First thing he says. It was a fairly long conversation. My heart did not calm down. But it turns out he was living with a drug addict and he'd been everywhere, and basically he said he was sorry and he wanted to speak to the kids. So now, how do I tell the children I have found this mystery man? So again, at this time they are 11 years old and 14 years old, and I sit them down and I go, I'm doing the slow approach. Hey kids, I just, guess what? I think it's possible that I may be able to find your father. And I look at their faces, and we're sitting on the bed in my master bedroom, and they burst out in laughter. They think this is the funniest thing they've ever heard. Like, what? You found him? That's so great. That's crazy. So I let him down easy. A few days later, I tell them that we actually did find him, and my son is like, oh, I have a dad, we gotta call him, you think he'll be there? I want to call him, and my daughter's like, we don't need him. Well, we do call him, and he picks up the phone. Oh, hello, darling. And my son goes, you sound just like John Lennon. There's the Beatles effect, one more time, working on my son. They have a conversation. My son says the word daddy 1,000,000 times. Yes, daddy, I'm gonna tell you, daddy, I got an A on this test, daddy, daddy, daddy. My daughter's listening on the extension going, yeah, I'm here. She's not having it. He gets her to talk a little bit, and finally at the end of the call, he goes, I love you, love. And she goes, uh-huh, and she hangs up. She's 11. So he promises to call, he promises to write, and 4 years go by and we don't hear from him ever again. So there's the 8 and 4, it's 12 years. Why am I waiting at the Greyhound bus stop? Because a week ago, in my beautiful new house, by my beautiful new pool, after my beautiful book club people had left, we read Joy Luck Club in case you're interested, and cleaning up the lunch dishes. My daughter's away in a teen camp tour. She's 15 at this point. My son has dropped out of high school and is in a poetry cafe. I'm alone in the house, the phone rings, I pick it up. Hello, love. Thank goodness there was a chair right there because I sit down and say, why are you calling me? Oh, I've been thinking of you. Oh, where have you been? Been camping. You've been camping? Oh, under a bridge, near a dumpster. He's been drinking, and he's been homeless. And the drug addict girlfriend didn't work out somehow. And then he has nearly died, gotten sober, and is calling me from a hotel room in the state of Washington on his last penny, and he wants to come home. I'm like, what do I do? I call a shrink. Yeah, the kid needs closure. I call the school psychologist. Yeah, kids need closure. I call my best friend. She goes, are you out of your mind? But I decide I have to do it for the kids, because we've lived with a gaping open wound for 12 years, and at least they get to meet the man and put the puzzle pieces together. And that is why I send this man money for a Greyhound bus, so I have 5 days to figure it out. And I'm waiting at the Greyhound bus stop to see if he gets off or not. Thank you.